Morning. I was just having a coffee here in my office. I was reading up on the driving practices of the Volvovian tribe who live in southern Truckcaristan when my secretary came in with this remarkable letter from Kevin. You know Kevin. Kevin was named Canada's worst driver last year. After taking me on a terrifying drive through the streets of Hamilton. You're not in the turning lane. You're not in the turning lane. Before that drive, Kevin had spent weeks learning car handling techniques and tips in our driver rehabilitation center. But for practically all of that time, he was in complete denial about what a dangerous driver he was. Some people come here, and if they're called Canada's worst driver, it gives them the drive to quit driving.
Well, I think they're stupid.
This year, Kevin's boyfriend, Lenny,
Look at your mirrors.
has brought him back to our rehabilitation center for more training.
Just concentrate on getting through it cleanly.
And right from day one, the chip on Kevin's shoulder has still been apparent. Are you going to be Canada's worst driver ever?
Not a chance in hell. I know I'm a good driver.
Before even getting to rehab, Kevin told us about serious injuries he received after driving into a ditch. And he wouldn't take responsibility for going off the road.
If the highway department had done their job and salted and sanded the road like they're supposed to, I probably would have done okay.
The letter he sent me this morning, though, tells a different story. In the letter, Kevin says he now takes full responsibility for all of his past bad driving, and that in the future he will make more of an effort to improve. Well, he'd better improve, because he's not the only bad driver who's back at our rehab center this year for a shot at redemption. In fact, we've gathered up all of the lousiest motorists we've ever had, and we're making them compete to see which one of them deserves the unwanted title, Canada's worst driver ever. Ah, my bus is here. Excellent. To the rehab center, my good man, to the rehab center. Here at the Driver Rehabilitation Center, we have 4 experts on staff. Tim Danter is our head driving instructor. Shamala Kiru is our resident therapist. Philippe Laterno teaches high-speed driving maneuvers. And former highway patrolman Cam Woolley is our legal expert. While the experts get ready to watch today's driving challenges, I surprise them. So, I just got, well, here, just fire them down. I feel like a teacher in class. Here, fire them down the line. Kevin just wrote us a letter.
Wow.
It is a wow, hey?
Mm-hmm. He's taking responsibility for his actions.
Yeah. No more making excuses or justifications. I am still stunned and amazed at what I was able to accomplish so far. I need to get back into that same zone and remain there. It's, I don't know. I buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like where he says, it's not the car, the weather, or the roads, it's the driver, and he's always argued that with us.
Exactly.
Seems like he's seen the light suddenly.
To follow up on Kevin's letter, Shamla is going to have a therapy session with him.
I was genuinely very surprised by that letter.
Maybe it's what Lengy told me. He told me if I get in one more accident, whether it's my fault or not, I lose my license and my car.
And how does that leave you feeling?
Scared, obviously.
Perhaps what Kevin's really afraid of is having Shamla and the other experts name him Canada's worst driver ever.
Do you think I'm Canada's worst driver ever?
I would have said absolutely before I got that letter.
But since you've gotten the letter.
Since I've gotten that letter, I'm willing to look at you with fresh eyes.
Last year, Shamla's eyes soured while watching Kevin fail repeatedly. On one particularly hard-to-watch day, cocky Kevin demonstrated that he had no idea where his wheels are when going around a corner. Does he know now? We're about to find out in an annual challenge we call the Trough. To pass the Trough challenge, drivers have to make it from one end of this terrible road to the other. I'll show you how it's done. First thing I want to do is set my mirrors so I can see the rear wheel, which I can do now. Same on the right. Got it. To predict where your wheels will wind up when rounding a corner, just remember, your rear wheels take turns sharper than your front wheels. If my front wheels were in the middle of the trough's first turn, my left rear wheel would drive over the edge midway through the corner. So I want to go a little bit forward to the right delicately. Driving delicately on this terrain is wishful thinking. That big chunk. There we go. Back in position. My next turn is to the right, so I want to be as far to the left as possible. And that's basic. Oh, wow, the car even settles into the trough. It's a weird ride, but it might be the easiest one we've ever done. Doing the trough took me just under a minute. Kevin is up first. Here goes Kevin. Did he even look in his mirrors once before starting? Did he set them to know where his rear wheels are exactly? No. No, he didn't. If Kevin had set his mirrors, he'd see his left rear wheel cutting too sharp.
You're way too... Oh! See?
You know what might help you know where your rear wheels are?
What?
Setting your mirrors so you can look at them for the millionth time.
Yes, that might actually help.
Drivers will get 4 chances to pass this challenge. And to pass, they need to set their mirrors correctly.
There we go.
I don't think he set that mirror correctly. On his second attempt, Kevin drives off the course. But he can't see which wheel it is that's over the edge. Front or back?
Both.
If Kevin's mirrors were set correctly, he'd be able to see that both wheels are not off the course. Why don't you set this mirror like we've talked about? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even when you tell them what to do they do it? No. They're Canada's worst drivers ever. Ever, Kevin. You told me you could see your wheel last time. You couldn't. Attempt numero 3. Kevin's mirrors are finally set properly, but he isn't using them.
You're going to lose your license.
So setting the mirrors is part of the process, and then using them is another not part of the process.
Use your mirrors.
Here we go. Numero cuatro. Kevin will use his mirrors this time, right? Wrong.
See what I'm saying?
Kevin does get back on track.
Whoa, he's back on.
But his next mishap can't be solved by stomping on the gas pedal.
I can get this off. Come on. Oh.
I don't think that's gonna work, Kevin. Call me crazy, but that's not gonna work.
You smell that? Oh, it's burnt rubber.
Kevin does not know where his wheels are.
What's a positive that came from this?
I don't know. Is there one?
When we come back, the rest of Canada's worst drivers ever get in the groove of our trough challenge.
Whoa. No way. Smoke like that, bad sign. Very bad sign.
Five nominees are still in the running to be named Canada's worst driver ever. And before any of them drive this episode's first challenge, Shamla is having one-on-one chats with them. And next up is Sly, who back in season 7 told us that as an adult, he had been diagnosed with a condition called nonverbal learning disorder.
Stupid brain.
As Sly's brother-in-law, Fred, knows, people with nonverbal learning disorder can't make quick decisions. They get discombobulated when driving backwards.
That was a complete disaster.
And they're unable to judge speed. But having all those symptoms is not what bothered Sly when he was diagnosed.
See, what kind of bothered me, I guess, at the time was that they made it sort of sound like it was like brain damage.
Brain damage the doctors think was caused by a teenage bicycling accident.
And these are the days before helmets. All of a sudden I look up and there's this car and I couldn't stop, like it was parked. And so my head went right into the back window and it completely shattered.
Oh my goodness.
But I didn't really have that much of an effect or anything. It didn't hurt me really. I had a pretty hard head, but
Sly is now on our trough course, and he says he's ready to start. But he
Didn't set his mirrors.
If Sly's mirrors were angled to see his rear tires, he could have seen this failure coming.
Why did your right rear wheel fall off that time?
didn't make the turns sharp enough.
Once again, Sly, you flabbergast me with your ability to get it completely ass backwards.
Doesn't compute. I don't understand how it doesn't get in.
When Sly does set the mirrors, he sets them incorrectly.
Did you see my finger pointing at the wheel?
No.
No, so set the mirror correctly, buddy. Yeah!
Yep.
Isn't that much better?
Oh, yes, very much so.
On his third attempt, Sly gets into trouble.
There you go. There you go.
But manages to recover and complete the course.
Whoa.
There is bad news, though. Sly says it was more luck than skill.
Ultimately, there was a lot of guessing in terms of trying to, know when to turn.
Michael from Vancouver Island, BC, is hoping to acquire a technique for overcoming stress in the vehicle.
You might want to just repeat something to yourself.
What Michael decides to repeat is a comic book character's oath.
In fear-filled days, in raging nights, with strong hearts full, our souls ignite. When all seems lost in the war of light, look to the stars, for hope burns bright.
That's beautiful.
During this season of rehab, Michael has been joined by the mother of his godchildren. But Yolanda has been laughing at his mistakes, insulting his efforts,
Get up to speed, moron.
and in general being a negative creep.
Can't help somebody when they're in denial.
I never should have sent the wife.
No, you shouldn't have.
When we met Michael back in season 2, his supportive friend Eric was in the passenger seat.
You know what? I think we're good.
Now, Yolanda is gone, and Eric is thankfully back.
Hey, man.
Good to see you. How you making out? Good to see
Not too
you.
bad, not too bad. All right, let's do this.
And once again, we have someone starting without bothering to set their mirrors. Why do they never set their mirrors?
It's probably the same reason they floor the gas pedal when their wheel's over the edge.
Whoa. No way. No way. Smoke like that, bad sign. Very bad sign.
I would agree.
Turn off the car, bad sign.
Totally.
What happened?
Ministers of Transport, pay attention.
On attempt number 3,
It's coming.
Michael pays attention to where his wheels are and completes the course easily. Michael would have been getting negative feedback from Yolanda.
It's definitely better to have Eric in the car.
Dale from St. Catharines is next to meet with Shamala.
I do have chronic anxiety, have panic attacks a lot.
Okay, and are you taking any medication for that?
Yes, I am.
It's too bad Dale can't get medication to help her know where her wheels are, because when Dale's front wheel falls off the course, she thinks it's still on the course.
Do you think you might have fallen off?
No.
Then when Dale's rear wheel falls off, she thinks the front one is back on.
How did I get there?
On Dale's second attempt, she's unsure if she's on or off the course.
Did I come off?
It's scary that she's out on the real roads.
I'm just going to keep going.
Are you?
On her fourth and final attempt, Dale can't remember what coming off the course feels like.
Are we off the concrete?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Dale seems to have memory problems.
Honestly, I couldn't see the mirror on the right, left.
Shelby from Calgary is hoping to learn some relaxation techniques from Shamala.
Take your time and allow your entire body to relax and your mind to become calm.
On our trough course, Shelby takes a long time to get on track. And then he takes his first turn too sharp. But Shelby did learn from that mistake.
I think what we have to do is we have to take that turn wider.
On attempt number 2,
This is like,
Shelby goes slow.
Almost at the end.
But he drives the course perfectly. Shelby stayed relaxed and can now celebrate.
Yeah, chase me around. Chase me around. No.
When we come back, Canada's worst drivers ever play car hockey.
I don't think this go where I want to go is working.
To be a good hockey player, you have to be able to stop suddenly, turn tightly, and watch where you're going, or you're going to get driven into the board. To be a good driver, you have to be able to stop suddenly, and turn tightly, and watch where you're going, or you're going to drive off into a field somewhere. Now, hockey and driving, these two seemingly unrelated topics might seem like a pretty pathetic metaphor to any hoity-toity academics out there, but fans of our show will know it's the setup for our next driving challenge. We're going to play hockey with cars. I said car. To see who's best at hockey with cars, the bad drivers will each have 5 chances to push this puck down this road. They must shoot the puck before they reach this blue line, and if it goes through the goalie's legs, they score. Most goals win. I'll go first. Let's see what happens. Woohoo! Keeping the puck in front of the car is hard enough. Looking where you want to go is kind of hard. Going fast enough is critical. Letting it go soon. Let's go! I like this one. Now, let's see how Canada's worst drivers ever do. Kevin will be the first bad driver to take 5 shots. I like this kid. He's missing an eye. That's what hockey's all about. We used to have a rule. If you had all the teeth in your head, you couldn't play.
Give her gas.
This kid's got bravery. This kid's got chutzpah. This kid doesn't have the puck. What the hell happened to this kid?
Whoa! Whoa!
I take it back. This kid sucks.
See, you could have avoided all that if you were steering properly.
I was steering.
No, you weren't, Kevin. If you were steering properly, you should have never went in that field. Right?
Well, at least I was able to get it out.
Right? Don't make excuses.
If drivers on this challenge stare at the puck, they'll chase it off the road. What Pinko gave this kid a license? Back when I was a boy, you had to actually drive good to get a license. Now they hand them out like... Everybody, who wants to drive? Let's be fair to everybody. Ooh, ooh, ooh. To succeed, you have to look far down the road, making minor adjustments as you go.
Oh, crap.
Look at this guy, can't even stay on the ice. When I was a young fella in Boston, they had a small rink, but we stayed on it. We stayed on it. This guy's off in the weeds somewhere. Kevin's 4th attempt is practically a slow-mo replay of his first 3.
Oh, my God, Kevin.
What?
And that means this is Kevin's final chance to score. Post. I hit a postman once in my car. That's a different thing. Let's not talk about that. I drove away. Nothing happened. It's all fine.
Almost had it.
Kevin goes 0 for 5. From the Old Timers League, Dale is up next.
unbelievably slow.
You're gonna want to get some speed too.
She comes out of the gates like molasses, like some European floater.
Maybe Dale doesn't remember that she needs speed, because on her next 3 attempts, she doesn't go close to fast enough.
Who gave this girl a license? I'm dead set against it.
On Dale's final, painful attempt.
Faster.
I'm thinking her short-term memory is completely shot.
Almost.
Dale goes 0 for 5.
I tell you, it's a sad state of affairs when no Canadian can get a goal.
On Shelby's first attempt, he doesn't even get a shot off.
No. I lost the puck.
He's playing defense on a breakaway. This kid should go back to Calgary. Calgary's a good hockey town, bad driving town. Good hockey town, bad driving town.
Shelby's next 3 attempts also produce 0 shots on net.
That's all good.
I tell you, Bobby Orr's rolling over in his grave. What? You're kidding, he's still alive? Bobby Orr's watching this, he hates it.
Shelby's 5 attempts are the worst so far.
Ooh. That's not a good way of doing it.
Shelby also goes 0 for 5. Michael's first 4 attempts produce no shots, which prompts Eric to say,
Well, you do know Don Jerry's advice in situations like this, right?
No.
All right, kids, I'm going to show you something. You get behind the wheel. You drive like stink. You know what I'm saying? Like stink, not like...
Michael speeds up for attempt number 5, but he's still not going fast enough. Michael goes 0 for 5.
I'd fight any of these guys to take their license away. I'd pull the jersey up over their head. I'd give them one of these. I'd say, drive faster, damn it. Drive faster.
Will Sly drive fast enough?
Then this is for the Stanley Cup.
I got a prediction. This kid's gonna get a big goose egg. And then he's gonna eat it.
Sly does drive fast enough to score. But driving at a decent speed, Sly is never really in control.
This is the kind of guy, if he was the Zamboni driver, he'd be in some baseball stadium going, I'm ready for work.
I was looking.
5 people scored nothing. That means it's time for sudden death.
Come on in, everybody.
Before the bad drivers try again, I'll show them how it's done.
You gotta drive. There's that young husband kid. Good kid, nice kid. Show him how it's done, kid. You have to go like this. Skating, driving, it's the same. Look where you want to go. Push hard.
Excellent job.
Right in the 5 hole. Michael, you're up. This Michael kid shouldn't even get a second shot.
In fear-filled days, in raging nights, with strong hearts full, our souls ignite. But all seems lost in the war of light. Look to the stars, for hope burns bright.
Michael, think he can score? Let's hope.
Instead of steering to the goal, Michael drives straight off the road.
Crud.
It shouldn't be tied. He should be less than.
Sly also drives off the road. Dale also drives off the road. And Shelby commits a federal offense.
Broke the leaf. Get rid of this kid. This kid desecrated the maple leaf. I had enough. I don't like seeing this.
If Kevin doesn't score right now, we're going to call this a 5-way tie for last place.
Yee-hoo! Goal judge, did he go before or after the blue line? Tell me it's good.
Kevin comes darn close to being offside, but the replay shows he did release the puck before crossing the line.
Successful goal, sir. Well done.
Kevin scores the winning car hockey goal.
That's a rock'em sock'em goal. Boil my products.
When we come back, Canada's worst drivers ever do the longest reverse ever.
At this stage in their rehabilitation, Canada's worst drivers ever should know how to correctly reverse. So, for their next challenge, we're going to have them perform a reverse that is so long, we call it the longest reversing challenge in the world. I said the word.
The longest reversing challenge in the world is exactly what you think it is. An 800-meter-long straightaway that starts off tight and mercifully gets wider as it goes. To do it, Canada's worst drivers ever will be in this snazzy Trans Am, complete with a flaming chicken on the hood.
I feel like Smokey and the douchebag. I'll be Smokey. Okay. Now, I'm not even going to bother checking my mirrors on this one because it's a straight line.
We tell drivers to look where they want to go. And where I want to go is the end of this long road, so that's where I look. Through the rims, I'm perfect. But in the parked car section, I start drifting to my right.
If I go too far to the right, which I am now, I can do a quick S-turn.
The S-turn gets me back to the center of the road, and the center of the road is where I stay. Through the parked cars, through the concrete barrier section, through the wooden barrier section where the course gets much wider. I'm still perfect through the garbage can section. And I'm flying through the arrows.
Holy cow! No wonder they call this the longest reverse course ever.
Almost a kilometer after I started, I finally reached the finish.
Could you reverse in a straight line? I damn well hope you could, because it's a straight line. Now, let's see if Canada's worst drivers ever can reverse in a straight line.
Dale starts by going perfectly for about 5 meters.
Oh, poor car. Oh, the Trans Am.
The poor Trans Am indeed. Instead of reversing in a simple straight line, Dale weaves all over the place and hits 36 obstacles during her run.
Oh my God.
Dale has a pretty good idea of why she failed this challenge.
I failed it because I probably did it wrong.
Probably did it wrong?
I did it wrong.
Kevin has a bad habit of looking forwards while driving backwards.
Don't look forward, Kevin.
This forward-looking habit is something we've been trying to break, but
Don't look forward, Kevin, please.
Kevin never looks out the rear window.
Please don't look forward.
Don't panic. I know what I need to do.
I tell you, stop looking forward, and you constantly are looking forward.
Kevin has promised to give up his license for good if he's named Canada's worst driver ever. So, he needs to start using his mirrors.
You're not watching your mirrors, Kevin. You're looking forward again.
Briefly.
Do you want to keep your license? Start doing as you're taught. You're not watching your mirrors.
Yes, I am.
You're not. You wouldn't have hit that if you were watching your mirrors.
Kevin certainly isn't watching his passenger side mirror. As the course widens,
you don't even notice yourself drifting.
Kevin speeds up, but he's still not using his mirrors.
You're not watching your mirrors.
Yes, I am.
Kevin claimed that he would start taking responsibility for his bad driving, but that seems to have been a false promise.
Oh, my God, Kevin.
What?
Because Kevin loves Trans Ams, I want him to have a good experience in this one.
You can drive forward in a straight line, right?
Yeah.
So we make a deal. Kevin can drive this course forwards at 40 an hour, but
You nick one thing, this experiment is over.
You got it.
You have to stop.
I understand that. That's totally fine. If I even brush one thing, it's over. I understand that.
Have fun.
Look where you want to go.
It's a straight line going forward. It should be fun.
And simple.
Kevin promised to go 40, but approaching the tight concrete barriers, he's going 60.
Let's slow down. Now.
Kevin doesn't slow down, and when he hits his mirror, he doesn't stop as he promised he would.
No.
You know, Andrew gave him only 2 very clear instructions, and he didn't follow either of them.
Kevin erred on the passenger side, as bad drivers almost always do. And when his front wheel hit one of the rims, it flattened the tire. This terrifying piece of car handling proves that Kevin is unable to drive a car in a straight line, even going forward. But what's truly unsettling is Kevin's opinion of his performance.
I'd call this a pass.
How could he possibly think that went well?
I blew a tire, Andrew. But still, that's pretty darn good.
No, you did not just say that. You did not just say that. Don't tell me you didn't actually get the point.
Well, he told us he was going to change his attitude. That reminds me of Kevin from last year.
He's destroyed the course. Look way down there.
Oh, look. Like, you're smiling, you're saying it's a positive, it's a good news story. It's a straight line. I asked you, can you drive straight forward in a straight line? You said yes.
And I did. I got.
You didn't. You hit. You blew a tire.
The attitude you're taking right now is absolute and utter, pardon my French, crap. And you need to get your head out of that thing called your butt.
He didn't even say whether I passed or failed the challenge.
What do you think?
I think it was a pass.
When we come back,
Can't even see the end.
the rest of Canada's worst drivers ever do the longest reversing challenge in the world. Canada's worst drivers ever have been doing the longest reverse challenge in the world. And while reversing, they've been going pretty slow.
Faster.
Michael says to encourage him to reverse quickly, I should say...
Maximum burn.
Maximum burn, my friend. Maximum burn. That's going to be your new name. Maximum burn. Plans on exclusively using his side mirrors. It's a bad plan.
Put your arm around the passenger seat and look out the back window, and you'll have more success, probably.
I'll give it a try.
This reversing technique is a change for Michael.
If you do that correctly, Maximum Burn, you can look far away. It's just like highway driving.
But Michael doesn't like change.
That is not a bad technique, but it's so unfamiliar to me.
Take a deep breath. Let's carry on. Okay. We're having a small mantra moment, okay?
If it works, use it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work.
What in the world?
Our experts always say when going in a long straight line to use your rear window.
The technique is too foreign to me.
Learning new techniques is the whole point of rehab. But Maximum Burn is apparently not willing to learn. Maximum Burn has sadly become
Maximum Burnt.
Sly will drive this challenge without Fred.
This is crazy.
What's really crazy is that Sly is reversing while staring at the speedometer.
If you're reversing, you want to look where you want to go.
Straight line. Oh my God.
He's swerving all
Look
over
at
the
the
place.
wheels.
Sly, stop, stop.
Like, how many bodies do you need underneath the car to stop, you know?
When the garbage is finally removed, Sly starts reversing while looking dead ahead again.
Oh, crap.
To sum up Sly's drive, I'll send it to the experts.
Well, that's the worst reverse ever.
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 Shelby is the final driver to do
The longest reversing challenge ever!
Getting through the rims, Shelby does well-ish. Through the cars, Shelby does well-ish. But through the garbage cans, Shelby does, well... terrible. That was garbage.
One word, how would you describe that drive?
No good.
That's 2 words.
When we come back.
Hi, Andrew.
Canada's worst drivers ever talk with our experts.
My next step has to come from within.
Wow.
This episode, the nominees for Canada's worst driver ever proved to be pathetic car hockey players. They demonstrated their understanding of where their wheels are.
Smoke like that, bad sign.
And they were subjected to the longest reversing challenge in the world, which Kevin couldn't even do going forward.
I'd call this a pass.
But before any of that happened, Kevin gave the experts and me a letter claiming that he was going to start taking responsibility for his bad driving. Now, we've received a second letter.
More letters. Believe it or not, more letters. I take full responsibility for what happened after the longest reverse challenge ever. So, he seems to have gone full circle in this one episode. He starts by giving us a letter that says, I'm, going to be different.
Then he reverts back to the same self-righteous behavior we're all familiar with, and now he's claiming to be different again.
I totally bought it earlier, the letter of change.
I totally bought it too. That first letter that we saw.
Is Kevin's new letter sincere, or is he just trying to get out of rehab?
As I mentioned in that letter, I feel the biggest change to my driving has to come from within. It's not something I can learn on a track or even in a car.
You've made an agreement with Lenny this season, is that right?
Yes, if I am named Canada's worst driver ever, or if you guys feel that I am dangerous on the road, that I am to turn in my license permanently and sell my car.
Right, so I'm wondering what influence that agreement has on you.
It's put a lot of pressure on me, Shamla. But, I feel that I have accomplished what I came here to accomplish.
What did you come to accomplish?
I came to redeem myself from last season, to prove that I can drive safely.
But you can't feel like you can drive safely after you couldn't handle that car in a straight line.
Sly didn't come here to redeem himself. He came to learn new driving skills. But
I still am terrible with reversing. And
Shelby is also terrible at driving backwards. Today, he's smiling from ear to ear because
It's embarrassing to come in here and say I didn't do so good.
in this, our 9th season, Dale might be the first person we've ever met whose not-so-good driving could be blamed on her bad memory.
I have a great memory. I have an excellent memory. I can tell you everybody that was on the show in season 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, their names, their addresses, their phone numbers. What I'm trying to concentrate on right now is focusing on how important, really, really important those mirrors are.
Michael's memory is excellent. but his driving skills still aren't.
You deserve to graduate this episode? You want to graduate?
Do I want to graduate this episode? Yes. Do I deserve to graduate? I'm not entirely sure.
It's time to decide which driver will be the next one to get their license back. And it won't be Kevin.
Sly?
Absolutely not.
Dale?
No.
No chance.
No way.
Shelby?
He's not there yet.
No.
Michael?
Well, we've seen some pretty bad driving at the rehab center before, but this episode was a downright fiasco. The only person here who impressed the experts enough to even get on the short list to graduate was you, Michael. But I actually think you still might be Canada's worst driver ever. So, once again, we're having a graduation ceremony where no one graduates. If you guys don't kick it into gear soon, we're going to have to change the name of the graduation portion of this show to the "Will any of these people ever get out of here ever?" ceremony. You're driving me bananas. But what can I tell you? We did say the name of this series was Canada's Worst Driver Ever. On the next episode of Canada's Worst Driver Ever, the nominees will try to make their way around an icy corner. They take a deep breath and show us how well they can parallel park a school bus.
And I blew it.
And our annual 180 reverse flick challenge shows just how bad these folks are at driving backwards.
I want a real job, like... I should have gone to university.